Well, this is a bit of a different look for this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CEW Podcast. I wanted to do it like this because, one, I've got to get used to editing myself with just me. So I thought, why not do the podcast where I have to sit here and sift through maybe 20-30 minutes of me talking with minimal editing, and also just to give you something a little bit different. Today, we're going to just be kind of ranting. We're just going to be talking, because I think the big talking point is probably, well, Byron, why is there suddenly such a big change in content on the CEW network? Like, why? I mentioned what we're doing and how we're going to be doing it in the update video, but I didn't really say why we're doing all of this. And I think it's a good way to explain to you all in a relatively short format is through the podcast. So it's a bit of a loaded question, if we're being completely honest. I have been wanting to do more with YouTube and just content in general for a while now, but I've never felt like I was the guy to do it. I never felt confident in my abilities. I never felt like I was the right person to do all of this. And I had many a conversation with a friend. You know, we would just be waiting for like uni lessons and stuff, and I'd be saying like, there's a market for this, there's a market for that, you know. The content should evolve, you know, core should evolve. And all my friend would say is, well, why aren't you doing it? And I would always say, because I can't. Because I genuinely can't. And he was like, well, no, you can, so do it. And so I started with shorts, because in the core world, I'm gonna keep it real. And again, the podcast is just my thoughts and feelings. It's a way of me, you know, kind of just flat out saying my opinion and speaking my opinion. I personally believe that in the core scene, shorts is something that nobody is really doing, and if they are doing it, they're not doing it in the correct way. At least for me personally. So I said, okay, we're going to give this a go. But in order to make it work, I have to do more than just core. And that is what opened up the portal to everything else. You have this idea of, well, I could make shorts about CEW. You can make shorts about your own company. Hype up a match. Explain the importance of a match like I did. You know, go over champions and your top 5 longest rating champions. You can give the results of a show that happened. You can do all of that. But in order for people to see you and for people to know who you are and for people to engage in those shorts, you need to do more. And when I realized that, again, through talking with my friend, who's been an absolute godsend when it comes to all of this, and I appreciate all my friends for dealing with me when it comes to having to do way more well, not having to do, but wanting to do way more content recently. It's the idea that, you know, I felt like it was selling out by doing stuff like, who do I think's gonna win the Royal Rumble, and like giving my Royal Rumble predictions, and then talking about The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and now talking about what the Undisputed Kingdom are missing. I thought all of that was selling out, but it's not. And this is the big truth. You can make core content, you can do whatever you want. At the end of the day, YouTube is a platform for creation, for passion, and for your own projects. So if you want to make just core stuff, go ahead. But I don't think people realize that core doesn't grow in the same way that other content does. So if you want to grow, like, I'll keep it real, I kind of want to get to the point where I can at least have some form of monetization on this channel. You have to take the steps to do it. And I think by me branching out and now not just talking about core, but wrestling games and real wrestling and all of that, it's a small step. These videos take me about a day to make. sometimes longer. The January rundown we'll kind of talk about as its own separate thing, because that is a beast of a thing. But the idea that I had was these videos are going to take ages to make, because I was expecting to do 25-minute video essays. And that's just not what works. Especially when it's recent topics. I really want to talk about the Rock Roman Reigns stuff, because the process for that was I woke up, because I don't watch SmackDown when it comes out, because it starts at 1 o'clock in the morning for me, and I just can't do that anymore, except for maybe pay-per-views and the occasional episode of, like, Dynamite. But I can't, so I woke up, saw what was happening, saw that The Rock is now basically in the main event of WrestleMania, and I said to myself, no. No way. So I said, alright, it happened because I woke up a little bit late that day because I was having a rough one. So I woke up about sort of like 11ish, so about 10 hours after it came out, and there weren't that many videos out about it. So I said, alright, I'll make my own. I got up, I had a bit of food, I drank some water, I recorded a video, I edited it, and I got it out in about 6 hours. That was with taking breaks as well, and also making the shorts versions of them too, so that, So about 6 hours to get 3 videos done, and that video has done so well. It was a 1 of 10 for ages. I think if I look at it now, it is probably a 2 of 10, which is still brilliant. And it's just that idea of, like, I thought that doing something like that would take me the whole day, and then at that point, it's old news and no one cares. In reality, it took me about 3 hours, and then the processing and uploading took me longer than that. So, once I realized that, I was like, okay, it's time to, now I'm doing other stuff. I'm doing a think piece on the Undisputed Kingdom that's already come out by the time that this has been... Well, by the time this comes out, that'll have already come out, but at time of recording, it's being uploaded as we speak. I may have already done some other WrestleMania-related ones, because, Revolution is coming up, and I do kind of want to talk about Sting and the Young Bucks, because I think that's going to be quite interesting, but I want to wait until after Dynamite, so after today, because, Sting and Darby are probably going to be tag champs. That's my prediction, but, we'll see. But there's so much, and it's not really a lot of planning. You just need to research a little bit, and if you don't research, just make a note of it in the video or something like that. If you're making a wrong call, then just admit it. And, in terms of content and just wanting to do more, I think it's also just a test, to test myself. I make core videos, which take a lot of editing, but that's just because they're big videos. These smaller videos are technically more technical than the core videos, and they're a test. I have the captions and stuff for the shorts, which, they don't take that long, but they look cool, so we go for it. And there's so much that goes behind it. I'm constantly critiquing myself, because that's how I am, and I know a lot of people would consider it unhealthy, you shouldn't be critiquing yourself that much, but when you're putting stuff out there on a platform, you should be ready to take legitimate criticism. I'm not saying that you should take people saying that, you suck and all of that. If they're not offering advice or specific critiques, I don't think that's warranted, but people aren't critiquing you most of the time to be a dick. They're critiquing you because they can see that you're doing something right, but they just want you to get to that next step. And that is something that I've still got to learn, and that's something that I'm learning as I'm making new videos, because I'm a perfectionist. I like to know what I'm working on, and I like to know what I'm working on is of the highest quality. And things happen, and that's something I've just had to learn to accept. Like, for example, in Invictus, I had that whole thing done, rendered it, and then when it got to 100%, I realized I messed up the audio near the end of the show, and it's such an annoying thing, because it took like 3 hours to render that video, and I could go in and tweak it, but it's like 5 seconds of audio, and it's going to annoy the hell out of me for the rest of the time. But it's something I've just got to accept as like, okay, next time I do this, just make sure the audio's done. Instead of just really, like, rendering it before, like, fully checking it. And I guess that's another part of just doing more content, like I said, is learning. I want to learn more. You know, I'm studying film, I'm doing a filmmaking degree, I'm specializing in editing. And whilst, yes, I'd love to go on to edit for film and TV, I'd mainly want to edit for a wrestling show. That's kind of like my idea. I want to be the guy that makes the promo packages and whatnot. But, you know, in order to get there, I've got to be better at editing. I've got to take on critiques from people who are doing the exact same thing as me. And I need to take on that feedback. It's not criticism, it's feedback. And that's the whole point. That's the beauty of editing in a craft, is there are people that are better than you. There are people who can help you, and you need to accept that help. And that's all that I'm trying to do with this. It feels like I'm rambling, but that's kind of what this podcast has always been about. It's just me rambling, getting my thoughts out there to people. And the idea that doing this without even thinking about it is helping me achieve my goal of being an editor and potentially editing for a wrestling company is crazy. And I think the big thing, because as I'm sitting here on Wednesday, the 7th of February, I believe, is just because you say that you're going to do more, don't overdo it. I'm sat here, I'm working on my second video today, which is recording this, and I'm going to be taking a bit of a break after this, because I have Countdown to Invictus and Invictus ready to go. I have the Undisputed Kingdom video ready to go. I have a couple shorts, and maybe some other shorts that I might need to quickly work on today. I'm getting it all done today, and then I'm probably not going to do much more afterwards. Because it's important to take a break. It's important regardless of how much you're doing, to just take a step back, relax, do what you want to do. I've got video games I want to play, man. I've got hobbies. I want to play games that I haven't played. You know, I've got Baldur's Gate, and I haven't even gone through most of that yet. I played a little bit of it with a friend, and I kind of want to do a solo campaign so that, you know, if there's a time where he's not available and I just want to play the game, I can. I want to play Guilty Gear. You know, make sure that if you have other hobbies and other passions, regardless of how much you're taking up and regardless of how much you want to do, just make sure you're happy. Make sure you're taking a step back, and just make sure that if you're having a rough day like I had yesterday as of recording, you just don't overdo it. You don't force yourself to do this stuff, because then you'll end up not wanting to do it. And I've experienced that many a time throughout my 6 years of creation and content creation now. If you force yourself to do stuff when you're not feeling it, you're going to hate it. And the last thing I want to do is, right after I said I'm going to be doing wrestling think pieces and shorts and this and that and all of this, is to then go, I hate all of this, we're scrapping it, we're just doing CEW. Because what was the point of doing all of that? You know, it's just, it's crazy. And the amount of people I've seen in core and just in content creation and just in anything, the amount of people that I've seen that will burn themselves out by forcing themselves to do it when they're not feeling it and when they're not comfortable to do it. Or, you know, if they're having a bad day, but they're still like, I want to make content. Or they're like, well, it's not that I want to, it's I have to make content. That is when you start resenting this. That's when you start not wanting to make anything. And like I said, I've had my fair share of that. I've had more than my fair share of that. And it's about rebounding and just realizing that the content and this stuff doesn't go away. My PC doesn't go away if I don't use it for a day. You know, my capture card doesn't go away if I don't use it for a week. My microphone doesn't go away if I don't use it, you know. It's still there for you. It's just, don't force yourself, man. Because you don't make cool shit if you're being forced. You make okay shit. And that might be alright for some, but for me it's never been. And I guess the biggest advice I can give you, like I said, is just please take breaks. I've said it about motivation and core, but it's just true in everything, man. If you're not enjoying it, just don't do it for a day or two. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. You'll love it even more when, you know, you get to just do it. And so I guess, now that we've gotten the main topic out of the way in the ramble for about 15 minutes, maybe even longer, I think it's time that we talk about a little bit of CEW news, because I know some people love this, some people probably don't like this, and you know what, that's fine. We're just going to go ahead and we're just going to do it. CEW news is, well, after Invictus, we now know that there are the Women's Tag Team Championships now, which, fantastic, and I can't wait to talk more about that when we have the inaugural tournament done, because I'm aiming to make this the best it can be. Make it the best women's tag division going, because it's something that hasn't really been done all that much, and when it has been, I don't think I've seen anyone say that this is a fantastic women's tag division, because tag teams in core is always a tricky thing. But I guess the big announcement is we'll be doing a show soon, hopefully. I don't know when it's going to be out. I don't know if it's going to be out by February or early March, but that's kind of the play. I can reveal that things that have probably already been announced, which is that Bob Parks will be there, Cheyenne will be there, Byron will be there. We have a first round matchup for the women's tag tournament. We have some pretty cool matches lined up for that show as well. And it should be a fun little show after Invictus, leading us into the March Super Show, which, do I reveal what that is now? Do I give you all a little scoop for those of you that watch the podcast? Yes, I will! The March Super Show will be called Doomsday, because Doomsday is coming. Who is it for? We don't know, but Doomsday is coming for somebody in March. Hopefully, it might be more like an April Super Show. I don't know yet. This is the beauty of making so much content now, is I don't know how long it's going to take me to do core stuff anymore. But we will see. We'll see how it goes. Because it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I think that's the podcast. It's going to be very weird editing this with me here, but we move. we definitely move. I guess, take care of yourselves. If you're doing content, please just do it for the passion. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time.